With me, Lianne Sanderson, who has 50 caps for England under her belt. I mean, Lianne, how do you feel about this England getting into the final?
Oh, it's incredible, really. I haven't really had a moment to really let it all sink in because I just did the commentary on the game for TalkSport. And honestly, from a former player's perspective, when you're in these moments as a player, you have those emotions and those types of things. And now being on the other side doing the broadcasting part, you can't, I want to cry on air and you just can't really do that. So you have to keep your emotions and manage them. It's incredible because I played in 2015 when we lost to Japan with an unfortunate own goal. And now we've gone that one step further in 2 back-to-back semi-finals. And to go that one step further to get to the World Cup final is amazing.
I mean, it means the women's team, only 1966 was better for the men.
Yeah, and I think that shows you just how difficult of a thing it is to do. And I think following on from their success last summer, the Lionesses, everybody was kind of fell in love with England after that, the Lionesses, and they've grown. People come up to me on the street and say, oh, Lianne, are we going to win the World Cup based upon us winning the Euros? I said, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. This was before the tournament because you've got to add in Brazil, US women's national team were going for their 3rd consecutive World Cup win. All those teams are out. So I think the path has been set up for us to really, this is the best time. I know Australia will be feeling it, being in their home country. 75, 80,000 people were there today in the Australian stadium. And it's like the fact that we overcome that is incredible.
Who do you give the main credit to? Does it go to the coach in the end?
I think it has to. I think the players, fair play to them for implementing the game plan. But Sarina Wiegman, I said I wish I could have played for her. I wish that she was there 10 years ago, 5 years ago when I played for the team, because the way she seems to be able to manage everything individually, whatever thing's thrown at them. Kira Walsh picked up that injury. Laura Coombs came in. There's a lot of things they've changed. They've gone from a back 4 to a back 3 during the tournament. They're playing different centre forwards up front, and it's all working.
I mean, she had been criticised quite a lot, hadn't she?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't make sense to me. You can't criticise a manager that's been to 2 back-to-back World Cup finals and 2 back-to-back European Championships with different countries, So I think people that were given her criticism doesn't make sense to me. I think critique the players, absolutely, if they're not performing to the levels that people expect, because that's people's jobs and responsibilities to do. But Sarina Wiegman, I think she's unbelievable.
And as far as players go, 3 goal scorers today. Who were the standouts for you?
I think overall, collectively, I thought our team was fantastic. I think Ella Toone, I was quite critical of her during this tournament because I don't think she's performed to the levels we know she can during the Euros. Scored an amazing goal today. Credit to her. Alessia Russo, coming into the tournament, people were saying Rachel Daly. Some people were saying Rachel Daly should have started in the 9 role. She starts. She's now scored 3 goals. So I think a lot of it has come down to the team performance. Ultimately, I think Lucy Bronze had a really good game today, nullifying Caitlin Ford down that side. So I think overall, it was a really good team performance.
Now, Lauren James has been suspended. Would you bring her back?
I love Lauren James. She's one of my favourite players to watch. And if anyone listens to me, they'll know I'm like the Lauren James fan club. But I think going into the final, no, I wouldn't. I think, the team has got them to this point. Lauren James is one of our best players, if not our most technically gifted player. And I think she'd want to start. But I think at this moment in time, I can't see Sarina Wiegman changing this lineup. I can't. Why would she? Bring Lauren James off the bench. I think she's learned from those mistakes. I mean, why she did that, I don't know. But we all make mistakes. We're all human. And, I don't think personally she needed to do a public apology like what happened, because if that happened in the men's game, how many apologies would we see? So I think she's a great player. She'll learn from it, and she's definitely a weapon that I think we can bring off the bench.
And what about Spain, though? How does England stack up against Spain?
It's going to be hard. We beat them last year in the Euros. It was 2-1. Georgia Stanway scored an amazing goal. I think it's a different Spain team. 12 of their players are not here due to the problems with their federation. 3 of those players that were supposed to be part of those 12 decided last minute they were going to come to the tournament. So they've had a lot of issues off the field with their coach and the federation, and now they're in the final. So they've got Bonmati. She's a massive player. They've got the best player in the world, Alexia Putellas, in their team. So we're going to have to really probably have our best performance at the tournament, but I believe the Lionesses can do it for sure. There's no reason why not.
Is it a bit of a relief it's not Sweden?
Yes and no, really. But I think Spain are a better technically gifted team. I think they deserve that win against Sweden for sure. It doesn't matter how you win. It's about getting the job done. And it was certainly exciting.
Now, what about the women's game overall in this country and internationally? Do you see this as a real kind of glass ceiling moment?
Yeah, I think the Euros last summer, we showed that, the Lionesses going into the tournament wasn't the favourites going into the tournament. Sweden, Spain, those types of teams, Germany were the favourites. And I think we've seen during this tournament with Australia how Australia's not really known for being a footballing nation. You know, there's a lot of rivalry. We spoke today about the Ashes and England and Australia cricket. Now the Matildas have put them on the map. And I feel like the Lionesses did that in England last year, and I think it's sustainable now. I think, you know, I played it at Wembley in front of 65,000 people about 5 years ago, and then on the Sunday, there would only be about 1,000 people turn up to our games. That was kind of strange. We used to say when I was asked, where has everybody gone? They come, they enjoy, they take selfies with the players, they meet everybody. But now I think it's just going there. You know, the tickets are selling out in 10 minutes at Wembley, England, Brazil in the finalissima last year. And I think this is where the women's game is at now.
Do you think the Premier League needs to sort of rethink a bit about how it treats the women's game, the women players?
No, I think they've progressed. I do. I think I was always blessed to play for Arsenal, so I was always treated really, really well from a young age. And I think you hear a lot of bad stories within the women's game, which completely makes sense. But I think there still needs to be more done, but more so in the league below the WSL, because there's a league, obviously the WSL, the league below that. There's still players that are playing part time. You know, Reading got relegated last season, this year. And then the first thing they did was say that the women are going semi-pro. I know the men got relegated as well, but that's hopefully we're moving away from those types of things, because whenever something happened on the men's side, we always knew our budget would be cut. But I think now that's not really happening as much anymore.
But also at some clubs, not Arsenal or I expect Chelsea, where you play with bad access to facilities. I mean, that's an issue as well, isn't it?
Some clubs, yeah. I think there's definitely a Super League sort of in the WSL where there's Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal and Manchester City. And that's kind of like the men's league, isn't it? If you have more money, you're going to pull in more players, you're going to bring in more fans, the better facilities. So I think there needs to be more done for sure. But facilities-wise, I think it's definitely got better in the last few years, for sure. I mean, I moved to America 12 years ago to play there, and that's the best decision I ever made. Maybe now, if I was to go back and it was the way it was now, maybe not so many of us would go overseas. So, you know, I definitely think there's been progression, and I think we have to celebrate that instead of it always being, yes, it needs to be better, but I think we have to celebrate exactly where we're at.
What about the names for the clubs? I don't know if you call them nicknames or whatever, the Lionesses and the Matildas and all the rest of it. Some people are saying that's sort of patronising, all that. How do you feel about being called a lioness?
No, I think it's nice. I think it separates us from, we're not trying to be the men's team. I think it's something that separates the women's team from the men's team. I think sometimes, you know, in the Euros, there was still those strange views, I call them, that people are saying, the goalkeepers are not good enough in the women's game. I mean, I work at TalkSport, so I get a lot of people say to me, what do you know? You know, you're a woman. And I think, well, you try and do my job. You know, you wouldn't be able to last 5 minutes because it's about how diligent you are in your prep and everything you do. So I think, you know, those people that are questioning why you have a nickname, I think they need to kind of maybe have a word with themselves, because it's only something that was starting out to probably be fun, and it's something that separates us.
And the final scoreline at the final?
I'm going to go with an England win, 2-1. I think it's going to be not an easy game, but I think we'll win.